What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jack by DFS, man. We're going to look at our final look for tomorrow's slate for the Millie Maker. Um, have put out the top core plays or stacks for the week that I like for tomorrow. This will be my complete list of all positions. I'll do primarily like a top five and try to find you guys like a value this week to play for Million Maker picks this week. Going down the list, man. First thing kind of shoots off the page is Russell Wilson should be in a competitive game tomorrow against San Francisco. I'd give San Francisco a little bit more credit for their defense. He's only had a 20 and an 18 the past two games against them. Of course, Seattle is a little, or San Francisco, excuse me, is a little banged up on defense compared to what they were probably those past two games. Um, could be acceptable to score a little bit more than that, but he's high priced this week. Personally, I like going down to Aaron Rodgers. I know that wind's going to be bad tomorrow. However, he's in a great matchup tomorrow, and I really like Aaron Rodgers tomorrow for a spend up price tomorrow. Um, Moving down, um, some consideration for Josh Allen this week. Not my favorite spot for him to be in. I'm not saying that I think that New Orleans defense is going to stop him from playing well, but there's just a few other spots I really like better this week than I do Josh Allen. One of my my next guy on the list is Justin Herbert. He's one of my favorite plays at QB this week. This guy just continues to get better and better every single week. I just think that continues tomorrow against lackluster Denver defense. I think he still has a pretty good game, and I like the odds that he has a good game tomorrow. Next guy on the list to have, I think will have a good game tomorrow is Ryan Tannehill. He's been on fire this season. 30, 34, and 17 last three games. 17 was a little bit down for him the last game, but I think he jumps right back up this week and could have a great game against Cincinnati, which I think will be a very competitive game, very high scoring as well. Um, Also like Joe Burrow a lot this week. Also a favorite play of mine in that same game. This is going to be a competitive game, high scoring, great game to game stack with either one of those quarterbacks. I personally like Joe Burrow the best out of the two, mainly because of his rushing upside, and could this game could you could stack this game with a couple. I mentioned in my stack video that you could probably, if you're running the Joe Burrow stack with a couple receivers, you could definitely run it back with some guys from Tennessee the other way. I think that's probably my favorite game of the week to probably stack this week. Just think that game could explode for big numbers, and you could really create a lineup that could really blow up, in my opinion. Another guy to like this week is Baker Mayfield. I know he's a little bit dinged up, but I think he can have a competitive game tomorrow. This is another game that could go high scoring between Baker Mayfield and Carr tomorrow. You could also say the same about Kirk Cousins. Not my favorite play of the week. He's got a lot to prove. I've got to see a great game out, a few great games out of him to be consistent to like him tomorrow. Couple guys that you could save. You could take a stab on Cam Newton tomorrow. I mean, he does have that rushing upside. Um, the Buffalo Bills haven't been great on defense this season, so some salary saving with a QB like Cam Newton. I personally would run him alone by himself and play him and probably just play Cam Newton all by himself. You don't even need a receiver with all the rushing upside, personally, to me. Um, Last two guys to mention that I like this week is Derek Carr. He's been pretty consistent, 24, 28, and 20 past three games. I think he can be pretty competitive tomorrow, and that could be a high scoring contest tomorrow. And then the last guy to mention for some salary saving 5,400 would be Jimmy Garoppolo. And you get some nice salary saving targets with the receiving core kind of dinged up. There's a few guys at receiver that will be nice pay down options that will be in good spots tomorrow for them outside of George Kittle. Moving on to running backs I like this week. Um, I'm not a big fan of Alvin Kamara this week. They're going to be without Michael Thomas. They're going to be without Callaway, who was kind of stepped up big for the Saints last week. I could see the Bears kind of double teaming Kamara, come out of the backfield and kind of slow his roll. I don't like the price and the upside. I think I'm just going to fade him this week. I know he'll get targeted still out of the backfield, but I don't see a high upside for him this week, and I think this will be kind of a floor game for him, if anything, personally. So I'm going to stay away from Alvin Kamara this week. I think if I'm going to pay up for a running back this week, it's most likely going to be Derrick Henry in a game that I've already mentioned that I expect to be high scoring in tomorrow. I love Derrick Henry this week. One of my top pay up option for running back. Looks like Dalvin Cook is going to be out again this week, so you're going to be having Madison. I do not trust Madison after that game where we all thought he was going to be explosive. Had a great matchup and just put up a ding, man. He just didn't do anything, and I'm just not going to trust my money with that again this week. I need to see a game out of him. He goes out and goes for 40 points tomorrow, then hey, man, I'll just take that lump, and it is what it is. But I'm just not going to waste my time going to Madison this week. I do like Kareem Hunt tomorrow. He's probably one of the last few games he's going to be the bell cow for them because Chubb should be back pretty soon. But he's in a great matchup tomorrow. One of my top 5 plays at running back tomorrow. A couple other guys to like this week is Jonathan Taylor. Great matchup again tomorrow. And then shooting down Josh Jacobs as well. Looks like Aaron's going to be out again for you're going to have Jamal Williams again at the bell back this week with the injury news. So looks like Jamal Williams will be primed for another week of running the ball, which I like him in that spot tomorrow as well. A couple other guys to mention tomorrow is Darrell Henderson. I like him in a matchup against Miami. Bernard, I like him tomorrow as well against Tennessee in that game that I like for a big scoring game. And then a couple other guys to mention that could have good games that are contrarian plays tomorrow. DeAndre Swift can't catch out of the backfield, so I do like him as a cheap contrarian play tomorrow. And then a couple other guys to like as contrarian cheaper plays tomorrow would be Joshua Kelly and Justin Jackson, and then Malcolm Brown. And then one more guy that I really like that I could see KC getting up on the Jets a lot tomorrow, and then they give in some garbage time, giving Le'Veon Bell some running ball time, and he could come out and explode for a big game tomorrow at only 4,600. So just things to think about. Throw some dart throws if you're playing multiple lines, etc. I like those as dart throws down towards the bottom here. Don't think they're pivotal plays, but I think you could be contrarian and play a couple of these guys, and they're going to be pretty low owned, and something that could get you some exposure there. It looks like Le'Veon Bell's getting 6% on right now, which is still not that high. But I do like a Malcolm Brown. He can come in and score a couple of touchdowns easy, and it's kind of stole some of that thunder away from Darrell Henderson. Looking at receivers for the week that I like. Davante Adams, man, to pair with Aaron Rodgers, I could see him having another monster day tomorrow. I'm not too scared of that wind. I'm just gonna roll with the punches and have him in a few lineups. Also like Adam Thielen, he's been exceptional as far as targets. Look for him to get back on the page tomorrow. Some look for Tyler Lockett and DJ Metcalf. I mean, those guys are obviously great targets for the Seahawks, and I still think that's going to be a harder game for receivers for me to target just because of the prices. I just like some other some cheaper plays that are in way better matchups tomorrow myself, but some consideration for that. Allen Robinson's in concussion protocol. We'll see if he plays this week. Nothing out just yet, but he didn't practice Friday. But it's still a possibility he could play tomorrow. I love the spot that A.J. Brown's in this week. This guy's been a monster on the field. 21, 23, and a 30. Mentioned him in the first look video. Still love him this week. Still in a great spot to put up big numbers again tomorrow. A couple other guys to mention. Stefon Diggs possibly against that New England defense. Tyler Boyd, one of my favorite receiver targets this week. Another guy to pivot from, if you want to pivot from Adam Thielen for a cheaper price, is Justin Jefferson. He's still in a great matchup tomorrow, so that could be a nice salary-saving way to go tomorrow. Keenan Allen has been getting monster targeted. He got targeted 13 times last week, put up a 26, and a great matchup again tomorrow. I think he's a great play tomorrow. Here we go with getting down to some of those cheaper receivers for San Francisco. As you can see, Brandon Ayuk, is that how you pronounce his name? I'm not sure. But he's in a great spot tomorrow. They're down a couple receivers, so they're going to need him to step up and play big for them tomorrow. I'll get down to a couple other receivers that could be big parts of that tomorrow as well. Also like Jarvis Landry this week with OBG out. Obviously, he could play a big part of that offense moving forward. T. Higgins in a great matchup tomorrow. You could obviously, I mentioned that in my stacks video, you could put him in a stack with Joe Burrow. Love that with Tyler Boyd or either AJ Green if you want to go down a little bit cheaper to save you some salary to give you some upgrade spots other places. He's getting targeted 8 and 5 times. He's put up a 10, 22, and a 19. I mean, really all these receivers are getting looks every single week, so you can't really go wrong there. Corey Davis in a pivotal where you could pivot from like a AJ Brown. If you want to go with a Corey Davis, he did get targeted 10 times last week and put up a 16. So he could be one of those plays that go for 3 touchdowns tomorrow that they're playing a little bit less of. He's only 2% owned. You gotta love that tomorrow. Interesting here with Henry Ruggs and Nelson Aguilar. Aguilar has been producing better than Henry Ruggs. And he's still coming in at only 3% owned over Ruggs, just 5% owned. I think you could obviously pivot. I personally like Nelson Aguilar better than I do Ruggs. I think he has great upside. Just my way of thinking, but you could obviously play either one of these guys. They're both in great matchups tomorrow with the pair with a Derek Carr tomorrow. AJ Green, as I mentioned, only 4,500, 11 and 13 targets the past 2 weeks. You're not going to find a better value than that down here in this range. A couple other guys to mention, Rashad Higgins. Obviously, they're banged up in Cleveland. Could be a nice spot for him tomorrow. He's going to be highly owned. I still think he could pivot away from some of this. You could obviously pivot down from Rashad Higgins and go down to Peoples-Jones and pivot away from that ownership. He's still in a great spot. He's going to get lots of looks with OBJ out, and that could give you some pivotal way to go. Hunter Renfrow mentioned at 3,800. Adam Humphries still part of that Tennessee Titans offense. Plays out of the slot, so you could have some of that tomorrow. One guy to mention, Josh Reynolds. He's kind of come up big the past couple weeks. One of the guys to like for the Rams this weekend. Kind of looking down to see if there's anybody else I really like. See if there's some. I mean, you can get a 4,500 Zach Pascal. He's not in a bad spot tomorrow. I still think Mike Williams will come on at one of these games outside of Keenan Allen for a $4,400 price with the upside. You never know. Low floor but high ceiling. John Brown will come on at some point this season. He's only been back a couple games for the Bills. Has that big play upside. Preston Williams, Marvin Jones, still really cheap. Pivotal ways to go. Damiere Byrd, still in a great spot. Still getting targeted a lot. Playing 93% of the snaps at $3,700 price. And one guy to kind of keep your eye on that's been kind of coming on, having some big plays every now and then as a dart throw is Jalen Guyton for the Chargers. Has that big playability. This guy's come in a couple different times over the past 2 or 3 weeks and caught like bombs for touchdowns. Has that big play upside at only 3,600. Other than that, you can find some value this week with New Orleans backups. I don't want to touch that. I think against backups, I think the Bears will be a strong play tomorrow. Not a lot of love for the Saints tomorrow. I'm not even going to touch them. I think you've got plenty of different ways to go to not even have to go there tomorrow. So, just my way of thinking. Moving on to tight ends for the week. Obviously, George Kittle, um, with all the injuries that they have, is going to be a go-to guy. He's just high. That's the only issue with him. If you pay that up for him, you need him to have a big game, and it's just not easy to trust that always. I get it, but I like him this week. Also like Travis Kelsey. Both of them guys are always in play. For me this week, I'm going to pay down. Probably starting with Darren Waller. It's going to be a great. He's getting 12, 9, 7, 9 targets. I mean, the guy's just a big part of that offense and a favorite target for Carr. A couple other guys I like this week. Could go with the Jimmy Graham. New Orleans isn't the best with playing against tight ends. Could be a nice game for him tomorrow. Kind of watch out for that rookie commit, who's probably really cheap. I'll get to him here in a second. Um, could be a nice game for Jared Cook. They're not going to have a lot of ways to go tomorrow, so Jared Cook could be a more of a part of that offense tomorrow for somebody to go to. I still like Robert Tonyan. He's on the field for 60% of snaps. He is sharing some of that workload with the backup tight end, Sterenberger, I believe his name is. But I like him tomorrow. He's in a great spot again tomorrow. Jonnu Smith, just a great play tomorrow at 4,100. You just can't get away from that. Bottom three in the league against tight ends. It's a great spot tomorrow. If only 4,100, I just love that spot for him tomorrow. Um, a couple other guys I like: Trey Burton, Harrison Bryant. Obviously came on strong last week. Could be a nice play again. He's only 3,200. Trey Burton's only 35. Um, Gotta love that. Moving down. Um, Hunter Henry in a great spot tomorrow, only 4,200. And for me, outside of that, Cole Kmet could be a sneaky value play tomorrow. He's playing more and more. He's been coming on, getting targeted the past 2 games. He's pretty much catching a nice big catch this past game he played. He's only 2,500 dart throw that could catch a touchdown, a couple more passes. And then watch out for a sneaky Taysom Hill. Could be a sneaky value at 4,100. Worth a dart throw at one line. He could be a bigger part of that offense tomorrow, considering they're down so many different weapons. Um, so just keep in mind with that. Other than that, let's move on to our defenses I like for the week. Um, Obviously, got to like the Chiefs. They're not the greatest defense in the world, but Sam Darnold and them guys have been having some issues on offense this season. They've only gotten worse. Could be a nice game for them tomorrow. Also, like the Chargers for spins up. Not my favorite defenses of the week. I don't like paying up for defense. This week, I'm going to try to pay down. Um, I think the first team I'm going to try to pay up for, if I pay up, is the Rams. I'm not a believer in Tua just yet. First game as a starter. Rams defense is pretty good. I can see this game being low scoring for the Dolphins and the Rams just blowing them out. In a realm of possibility here. Last 3 games, 12, 0 to 15, going against a guy who's never started in the NFL before with big expectations, with all that pressure on him. I like the Rams defense tomorrow at 3,800. A couple other defenses to like this week. Um, Obviously, some consideration for. I do think this game is going to be a big game potential, but some consideration for the Browns. I like their turnover ratio in the NFL. They could easily pick off or strips fumble Carr and take it to the house. That's really all you need for defense at 2,600. Could be a nice game, as well as Joe Burrow with his fumbling issues, and still being kind of a young rookie in the NFL, could have some woes. They take one to the house from a Joe Burrow fumble or something tomorrow. Could go with that Tennessee defense as a paydown. Uh, Favorite paydown tomorrow for me is going to be the Bears. Really like the Bears tomorrow. It's supposed to be kind of some crappy weather. It's probably going to be really cold. Saints are going to have a lot of their starters for receivers, and they're going to be struggling on offense tomorrow to me. Like the Bears, they could become one-dimensional and know what they have to stop in Kamara in the run game, and pretty much force Breeze to throw to them, to the receivers that he typically doesn't have to throw to. Could be some chemistry issues, since those guys don't play together a whole lot. Um, could be some issues like receivers running the wrong routes or something. I'm sure they've had to call up some people from the practice squad, etc. So I like the spot for the Bears tomorrow as a cheap pay down option for defense. Guys, that's it for the final look video for me this week. Hopefully this information will help you guys win some money tomorrow and put you in great spots to cash. If you guys haven't liked and subscribed already to the video, please do so. Share the video. That would be great. Helps get the audience a little wider and helps grow the channel. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at Jackpot25, as well as here at JackpotDFS, man. I will be out tomorrow and try to get out a Sunday night and a Monday night video. Stay tuned to that. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I've just, with all the work and kids and trying to see some football myself and all that, sometimes that gets a little crazy and it's hard to do. But look out for Twitter, because I will post plays that I like if I can't get it out of video. But always, guys, the comment section is open for YouTube as well as Twitter. If you guys have any questions or anything about what you're going to play tomorrow, feel free. Best of luck, guys, and hope you guys are having a great weekend and enjoy your rest of your Saturday night. It's Halloween. Don't get in any trouble, and keep it COVID friendly, I guess. We'll see you guys. Hopefully you guys win some big money tomorrow. If you guys do happen to win some big money, hey man, feel free to share some lineups and what you won and those kind of things. Great feedback, man. Love to see that kind of stuff. Anyway, guys, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys for the next video. Have a good night. Goodbye.